It's not a secret that the Torso T1 is one of my favorite sequencers ever. I talked about it many times, both here and on my Patreon, so if you're interested in knowing how it works in and out, go check the videos. But a few weeks ago, Perfect Circuit, which is one of my favorite shops, which I collaborate since a long time now, reached out and asked me if I want to do a giveaway. And I said, of course, I'd be very happy for someone of you to win it. It's the giveaway, it's only for American resident. Sorry for that, but maybe in the future that will change. There's the link down below, and let me also thank Perfect Circuit because they always supported my channel, give me great deal, and you know, it's one of those shops that I really like to support because they really like to support content creator like me. But anyway, this gives me the possibility to talk again about this brilliant sequencer. I really enjoy to use it, and it's in the end I only use 3 sequencers mostly, and it's this one, the Oxy and the Octatrack, and each one has a different power, different superpower. So today I want to talk briefly how I'm using this and give you some example at the end of the video, and also tell you the 5 whys I think this is a brilliant product. So first, when first I saw this on the market a few years ago, and I see no screen, just this few button and this sleek design, I was like, wait a minute, what is that? How that can offer you a convenient way to create music? So I was instantly hooked, how you say, I don't know. And I think minimalism in design, when well done, it's something that is pretty great because it removes all the noise in front of you and makes you focus on what is the goal. In this case, the T1 removes everything that can confuse you, and once you get the hold of it, yes, you need to learn how it works, but when you get into it and you learn the basic, this is super fun and super easy. I think that company that invest a lot of thoughts in designing something like this should be promoted, should be always put, they're always in my heart, people that really try to go outside the easier path to create something that has never been created before. So this is an Euclidean algorithmic sequencer. Again, to know better, go check my previous video. But in a recent update, firmware update, they added a few new features that make it really powerful. Before, you couldn't add per step values like notes and stuff like that, and now you can do that. So this became really powerful. There's 2 ways that I'm using it, and of course one is with hardware synth, which I have a lot, and that's mostly the basic and usual way I connect it in my studio, but it's great when you use it as a DAW controller, when you have a great VST that you want to use it. Lately I'm having a lot of fun controlling Slate and Ash, for example, with this tool. So it's super easy to set up, it's super easy to be also the master controller for your studio. And I'll give you 2 examples at the end of the video to show how that works. But let me get to the point of why, the 5 why I think this is a brilliant instrument. So first one, instant fun. Every time I connect this and I play with it, I am having fun, which is something that I really love. Not all instruments that I have, it's fun, they're fun to use. Sometimes they are complicated, you need like a certain amount of time before getting into it. As for example, when I use a modular synth, before having fun, it takes always some kind of time. But with this one, I get to a point that something sounds great very fast. Of course, it's a sequencer, it doesn't have any sound inside, but I always get interesting sequences. The fact that it's an Euclidean, it's something that I don't have, for example, in my octatrack, so helps me to get a little outside what I usually do. And so it's always interesting, it's always a joy to use. Instant fun. Every time I found something that give me this feeling of fun, of playing, yeah, I try to stick with it. The second reason, I think this instrument has personality. So whenever I use it, in a previous video, I was mentioning that I am having a dialogue with it. And that's happened with a lot of tools that I have in the studio. I love when tools and instruments have some soul, have some personality. They have something to say. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's something that happened with the keeper that I have. The instrument that I'm keeping usually are the one that communicates something to me. And I think the Torso put a lot of thoughts behind the design and how it works. It's definitely not easy to have a full feature sequencer using just a few buttons and knobs without any screen. Also, I think it was a big bet for them to put this in the market, because it's not an instrument that it can be deceivingly uneasy to use, because at the beginning you don't know really what it is and you might feel this is going to be complicated. Instead, it's super simple. The only other instrument that gave me the same kind of vibe was the Teenage Engineering OPZ, that you can use it with the screen, that one, but also without. And I was like, this is going to be so extremely complicated. It was the opposite. Once you get all the ideas and thoughts behind the instrument, things will work seamlessly. And that means that the designer and the engineer at Torso really put a lot of effort. Nobody's paying me to say that, and I'm not getting even money from neither Torso, neither Perfect Secret. This is a video that I do just out of the immense love that I have for this guy. So thanks for doing these things. I hope your future product will be as cutting edge as this one. So let's go to third point. I said this could be deceivingly, give you the idea deceivingly that it's hard to use, and it's not. It's super easy to use. Go check my other video. I can be up and running with a sequencing like 30 seconds once everything is set up. It really makes sense, and you just have to give it a couple of days, I guess, to get into the workflow. For example, when I had to learn the stuff like Octatrack, that take months to be proficient. This one, I was proficient after not even a day, because at the end of the day, the first day that I had it, I was just happy to use it. Maybe not making masterpieces, but it was great. So simple to use. 4 point. I think there's nothing like this in the market. This is the only sequencer, of course, that I tried. My experience might be limited, but there's nothing else like this. Yes, there's other tools and sequencers that do a broader. I'm lost a second. Like take the Oxy, for example. It can do more things. It is even more broad in its use. But in this case, there's something that make me feel whenever I use the Torso that I never had anything like this. And this feeling of novelty somehow pushed me to do a different kind of music or a different approach. So I really welcome this kind of tools. Maybe that's just a feeling that I have, who knows, but that's what it is. And then the last point, I love the idea of the randomization and the cycles. Those are two concepts that every Torso user will know, but basically you have this random knob that can be assigned to any other knob here, and it may wonder. If you use that plus the cycles, that is another concept. Basically, cycles would be the different repetition of the pattern which you can randomize, which you can create variation. These become super powerful. I don't think there's, I guess, to get the previous point, nothing that works in the same way. So once, if you have these, maybe if you're one of the guy or girl that win it, well, please spend time learning the randomization and the cycles, because those two are the real superpower of this amazing sequencer. Okay, that said, let's go into two examples. I show you first how I control the hardware synth, and then how I play with the VST. Let's go. In this example, I'm gonna show you how I usually use the T1 to control my hardware synthesizers. We have the Electron machine drum, the new Erica Syntrix 2, demo coming soon, and the Waldorf Iridium. Let's hear it. I have the Syntrix on track 1 with different cycle, so I have variation in the pattern. I'm gonna bring in now the Iridium. Let's bring some drum. I set up 4 track to control different machine on the machine drum. And let's bring in the kick. So this is my favorite way to perform. I set up everything here, and then I play with the mute and unmute. I set some different randomization, so basically my pattern all keep changing. And then I have my hands free to play with the filters and all the control on my hardware synth. I could have also set up some CV control to have a deeper control on different parameters on the hardware synth. But of course, that is more in-depth stuff, and I did a few other videos that you can check out about that. Now let's see the other way I can use the T1 as a controller for my DAW VST. Okay, this is the other setup that I really enjoy playing with lately. I'm having the T1 hooked to my DAW Ableton Live via USB. I'm also using another controller, the Chic N32B, which is an amazing portable knob controller, super easy to configure. I'll show you what I did. And I have 4 track on the DAW. On track 1, I have Slate & Ash choreograph. Let's hear it. Everything is already being sequenced by the T1. On track 2, I have Una Corda from Native Instrument. On track 3, Albion Tundra from Spitfire. And on track 4, a simple organ bass patch from Ableton. And on track 5 I am recording the performance. Why? Let me explain what's happening here. So on T1 I have 4 track here, which I already set up to send MIDI 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I set up that here. You can see on this page. So I have all of these tracks reacting to channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. Super simple. You go here, you press channel, and here you have 1 through 16. Super simple to set up. On track 5, I have a resampling track. Basically, it listens to the master, and I do that because I want to record what I'm doing with all these controls. So for example, if I tune off all the volume, as you can see here, now the volume is down, so I can actually start using these as a multi-track record, not a multi-track, a stereo recorder. I could have set up as a multi-track if I want. Also, I will have all the MIDI information. Of course, recording the video now, it's a little more cumbersome, but it's super fun to use. Let's go track by track to see, because this is a kind of setup that I really think it's super fun. When you don't have the luxury of have a lot of hardware synth, you can make your own hardware synth using controllers. So, for example, on track 1, we have this beautiful patch from Slate & Ash. It's one of my favorite patch ever. I control from the Chic. I have 4 row for the 4th track. So the first knob is the volume. Then I have send A and send B, that they go through this Valhalla vintage reverb and delay. So I can actually perform. I could do that with this too. I'll show you how. So on the T1, track 1, I have set up a sequence with 4 cycles, and I change cycle 2 and 3 to have variation, so it keeps changing. I added also randomization on velocity and sustain, so basically what you hear, it keeps kind of changing. On track 2, I have this chord progression that is actually created by the torso, by the T1, because how I did that, so I put actually 1 pulse per cycle, but then I randomize the pulses and I randomize the harmony, voicing and range. So this basically change and do algorithmically change the progression in a way that is pleasing, because of course I use the minor scale, so it's all quantized to that scale. The other interesting part is like the randomization ideas behind the T1 is that every time you turn it on and off, it will load a set of randomization sequences that are 16-step long. You can change that, you can reload and you can modify them. Also, you can set in the random page here, you can tell him change for every cycle, renew, reload a different randomization, or keep it as is. This gives you this controlled chaos that I really love, because if there's something that you like and then you set the randomization as I would say stable, so keep this randomization cycle as it is, and it allows you to keep what you're hearing. I think it's a function that is amazing. Maybe it's hard to understand if you never played with it, but once you grasp the power of it, it's super. Okay, on track 3 I have this interesting orchestral thing made with Albion Tundra. There's a lot of pulses going on and 3 cycle. I like to keep, for example, a few pattern with 4 cycles, some other with 3, change the length of it so it's always evolving, and it's smeared because I put a reverb behind it, so I wanted to create this pad. Beautiful vibe. And then on track 5 I have the bass. So the bass, it's interesting because first I had 1 pulse per cycle and then change the notes per cycle, so I have a progression here too. And then to show this guy can actually sequence CC values. It's pretty powerful. How do you do that? Let's go back. As you see here, there's this track that has a different color, this turquoise. So you can select any track and then you press Ctrl and the track, and though you have the regular note sequencing, CC, and this is the FX track. So this one I set up as a CC track. I send it to the same channel, MIDI channel, as the bass, and now I then selected the velocity and mapped it on the organ bass. I mapped it to the filter cutoff that it's already going on. So as you can see here, I can actually clear, let's clear the automation, I don't know. So if I move this, you can see the cutoff here moving. let's just hear that. So, for example, now it's the cutoff at the minimum. Now it's at the maximum. So I can play with it by hand if I want, or I can randomize. Random. And now, as you can see, it goes. So this gives you another layer of control and funniness that it's pretty powerful. If you want to know more about how to deal with these and FX tracks, please go check the other video I made for the in-depth demo. All right, I think this is what I wanted to say. I really feel that this is a tool that you can put in your pocket almost, and it's a great interface. It's a great middleman between you and your instrument, being them the software instrument or hardware instrument. And I pushed this little product since years. It's like one of my favorite ever. So I'm really happy and excited that one of you can have it for free and win it. Please, if you are the winner, send me your video. It would be fun to have you featured on my channel and see what you did with the T1. And of course, if any of you have some question, feel free to ask me in the comment. Thanks again to Perfect Circuit for keep supporting me and for giving the chance to someone to hone this T1. All right, I'll see you next week, and ciao ciao and good luck.